Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Soul Food Book Club. I'm Terry Angel, your host, here with our amazing book club chatters and studiers, and the author of the book, The Year of Living Miraculously, Michele Landers. Welcome, Michele, to the show today.
Oh, thank you so much. So happy to join you guys again. Thank you for inviting me in.
Last week was just amazing. So I can't wait to see what this week's going to bring. And we have with us Charlie Coons.
Hello, everyone.
Auntie Jean.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
And our beautiful Grace Isas.
Hello, everybody. Thank you.
So happy to be here with you. I am somewhere in Oregon. I've never been to Oregon before, but let me tell you, it is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm grateful that I have a dash cam on the car. So hopefully I'll be able to upload some of those videos and show you all some of the beauty here in the mountains.
Nice, yes.
Yeah, and right now we're going to turn to the beautiful Michele Landers. And let's just have a discussion about, I believe it's chapter 5 that we're on right now.
Okay.
Oh.
Let me get to chapter 5. Okay, so I would really like to know if you guys have done the exercises in chapter 5.
Yeah, I did.
And
yes,
just share with me what you, what your feelings were, what you thought about it, what revelations, if any, that you came to. So who would like to share?
You want to go first?
Oh, I was just going to mention that the first 2 exercises, you going back to your childhood. And that was a problem for me. I didn't have a very good childhood. So trying to remember a good, happy moment was really, really difficult. I finally, because I was digging so deep, remembered one, but mostly it was really hard for me because it was, pretty bad childhood. So that one was a little hard for me, but then the other exercises were fun, were good.
We're good. So the childhood one, you said you dug deep, but you found one memory.
Yeah, well, and I don't even know if it counts, but there was a time when our neighbor had a dog who had puppies. And they let me go over and play with the puppies. And I think that's the happiest memory I have from childhood. It was pretty bad, Michele.
Yes.
I lived in fear most of the time.
Oh,
So
dear.
it was really hard. So
Okay.
the puppies is what I remember. And it wasn't really a family memory per se. It was, something that the one thing that I remember being happy.
So today, do you love animals or do you love dogs today?
Oh, like crazy. Like
yeah,
crazy.
that would make sense. But was there any games that you possibly could remember that you like to play?
Well, I used to pretend things. I used to pretend like, this is going to sound crazy, but I was brought up in the Catholic Church. And so I used to pretend I was a priest.
Okay. That
I
doesn't
used to
sound
play
crazy
with
at all.
the neighborhood kids. I would play with the neighborhood kids. and I would do the mass, and I would give them communion, and I
Wow.
would flatten the little pieces of bread out to make hosts, and
Wow.
and so that, and then the other thing was we'd play house, we'd play bride and husband and wife, and some of them would be children. And we used to do that in the old days. Pretend like you were grown up and you were going to have children, and it was kind of like prep for getting married. I don't think they do that anymore, but we used to. So
That's
those were
very,
the two games I can remember playing.
were there any board games or anything like that that you enjoyed
Mm-mm.
playing? Nothing,
No.
but it was pretend.
It
Mostly
just was pretend. And, for me, most of my first 18 years, no, I won't say that long, 17 years, I lived in fantasy with the fairies and the angels and stories and books. And it was my escape because, everything else was so hard. It sounds so terribly sad, but I'm so happy now. So let me just clarify that that's all in the past. So
Yes. And our past, though, can, if we allow it to, shape our future. So the interesting thing was the priest. I just would love to dig into that a little bit more. What was it about being a priest that appealed to you? What was the feeling you had when you were a priest pretending?
Well, I felt close to God. I felt, ever since I can remember, I was, I guess, spiritual, that I wanted that special feeling. And somehow I think I felt the priest must have a special connection,
Right.
that because they had, if you brought a Catholic, they have a special connection to Christ, is what we were taught. They're like his representatives on earth, and they could do the host, which was changing the bread into the blood and flesh of Christ. So I guess I just felt compelled. Of course, they wouldn't let women be priests. They still don't. But I just felt like if I pretended, if I did that, it would just make me closer to God and make me more spiritual. I don't know. It just, I know it sounds kind of silly right now, but that's what I did.
It doesn't sound silly at all, by the way. But what I think is interesting is now, in a sense, because of all your spirituality and all of your delving into it, you're kind of like a priestess right now, right?
Oh, well, I do feel like I feel very close to my creator now.
Yeah.
And I feel very close to our family. And, I just, I've been happier than I've ever been in my life. So
it's wonderful. That is wonderful. So what, okay, so the other questions I asked, though, did you have a favorite toy or a favorite song or anything like that you can remember?
no, and that's what I say. It was very difficult for me because those years, and I guess maybe I run away from them. I don't know, because those years, it was all about survival for me, and I make it sound like it was physical. It was to some extent, but mostly it was protecting that person that was inside of me, that being that that's inside of you.
Right.
You know, and so things there's whole big areas that I've blocked out, you know, that I can't remember at all. So that was a little hard. So, but, you know, I kept thinking, I guess most people have at least some memories, but I don't. So,
I understand that because it, you know, from if you know reading my book, you know that I grew up in a you know dysfunctional household as well, and so it's always challenging because you're just a kid and you don't really know how to process all of this information, and it kind of for me it gave me a very skewed perception when I went out into the world of what the world was like. So, but the good thing was for me, it was the catalyst. It was a catalyst to do things differently. It was like a fork in the road. And I was either going to go this way down a really dark or bad path and be a victim for the rest of my life, or I was going to take those experiences and look at them a little more deeply and understand that it was things that were projected onto me. I wasn't bad. And I think unfortunately for some kids, that's as they grow up to be adults, they feel like there's something wrong with them. And you know,
yeah.
but yeah, but thank you for that. How about you, Charlie?
I did all the, you know, the 1, 2, and 3 exercise, but exercise number 3 resonated. But I'll go through number 2 real quick.
Okay.
All right, my be yourself, play a little child. What did you enjoy most? I enjoyed most was when I went to the beach, but it wasn't the beach. It was like the bay. And my mother would take us as little kids and would play on the bay side, you know, in the sand and stuff. That resonated a lot. Childhood when a game, I always loved when I was growing up playing baseball with the kids or whatever. We always played baseball, and I really liked that. And in a movie, song, or book, the book, I only read one book in my life before I started this whole thing, and it was The Pearl by John Steinbeck. So,
Oh, wow.
so that is the only book I read growing up, and you know, in school,
Wow.
in everything. So I don't know if that means something. And it was a play, and it was Hello Dolly with I forget who started it.
I do know who starred in Hello Dolly. Carol Channing, right?
Yeah, no, I
Isn't
think
it?
I think it was before her. You know, maybe Phyllis Diller or somebody really whatever. I don't remember, but anyway. What did you? And when I wanted to be when I grow up, you know, I'm thinking back then, and I probably wanted to be a fireman or a policeman or something like that. You know, that's what little kids usually, you know. But the priest thing, like Auntie Jean was saying, when I grew up, I was an altar boy, and I went to parochial school. But then when we moved, I went to regular public school. But during Lent, you know, I actually, before every day, I'd go to mass before I went to school, and then go to school. You know, I went to real early mass, and then I'd walk to, you know, to school. So it was like something, you know, I guess I was really religious, you know, back then, you know. And who knows if I don't know, I might have even thought about being a priest, but that went out the window real quick, you know. once girls came around or whatever. But and who were my heroes? And it was probably the Mickey Mantle and the baseball players of that time. Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford, and the Yankee. But my favorite one was Thurman Munson, and he died in an airplane crash.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that was tragic. Yeah, but the exercise, the family, the friends, and the wheel that you have.
Right.
I don't know
The
if
wheel.
anybody that's watching can see it that doesn't have the book,
Yes.
and it has all the different things. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10
Take off
different
my
things I think
background.
there are. Yeah, the 10 different things, and that really resonated with me. And you figure out which ones were mean the most to you, or
Oh, wow.
how you how to number them, and the different things, and but the friends and the family,
Yeah, I see Auntie Jane. She colored hers beautifully.
yeah, I just colored the little line in the middle. I didn't do it in the book. I did it on paper, and
Yeah, I hated doing it in my book too, but
yeah.
I was too lazy to copy it. I didn't know how to copy it without a copy machine. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I want to get back to that in a second, but Grace, do you have the book, or you're just, happily joining the group to hear what we are discussing?
I'm happily joining the group to support you all and to hear what we're discussing. I haven't got the
Aw,
book yet,
that's
but I'm
very
happy to be
sweet.
here.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. So,
happy you're here.
as far as the exercise number 3, especially the wheel. So, tell me, Auntie Jean, when you did the wheel, did it reveal anything to you that you were surprised? Did you have any revelations, or did you do it and say, yeah, that's not a surprise to me?
I don't think that it was a surprise to me. I think I pretty much acknowledge that that's where I am. I think the only one thing that surprised me is I went pretty high. I don't know if you can see, I went pretty high on the spirituality. And I
Yeah.
feel like I still have so much to learn that it kind of surprised me. I went all that way up.
See that?
I only left one space more on there because there's always room to grow. And I thought, boy, you really think you're something there, because I did so much of it,
Well, we think
But-
there's something, Aunt
We
Jean.
do.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're a priestess. I want you to own that.
Okay.
You're
Anyway,
a high
so
priestess.
that was about the only really surprise. The only one I went all the way up on, and I don't even know if that's valid, but was my career, because I had been a teacher, and I loved being a teacher. I mean, I just loved it. I felt like my whole life, even my childhood, was preparation so I could help the children that I taught.
Well, guess what? The priest isn't the priest very similar to a teacher and teaches the little children? I mean, he teaches, adults, but, he teaches little children. So that's one of the reasons I suggest some of these exercises in the book because there are clues to what is meaningful to us, and many times to what you wind up doing in your career. And if you're dissatisfied in your life, this is one of the find out what it is that you really love to do as a child. You know, there are kids who say, oh, well, I wanted to be an astronaut, and that wasn't realistic. Well, before I dig into whether or not it was realistic, what is it that you're doing now? I mean, an astronaut is someone who explores, you know, and explores outer space and science, and really, usually they're very good in math. So I always look for little clues in that way to see where you are now and how we can use some of that information to help you be really comfortable with where you are right now. But you're really, from what I hear, so you were a teacher, which was great. It was really wonderful. So that yearning, your soul's yearning, I think you fulfilled that. And the priest is someone who teaches and deals in matters of the spirit, which that's exactly what you're doing. So do you see how the dots kind of connect at times?
I do. And I think that also having found, well, I guess Terry, the family and everything, and putting things into perspective for me, into understanding lessons, why you have these experiences, why you have these lessons. Seriously, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my whole life. And that's saying a lot considering how old I am. You know?
That's fabulous to hear.
You know, so.
That is really, really, really fabulous to hear. Age, whatever that age is, and they become bitter or dissatisfied, you know, with life. And when you talk to them, it's because they feel either victimized, they feel, you know, their life didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. But I am completely convinced it doesn't matter how old you are, you can somehow incorporate or find the things that bring you joy in some way, shape, or form, if you just do a little digging and just trust. And you have to let go of the past, right?
That's important.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. Yes, it is.
And one of my clients had said to me, you know, she came and she was really stuck in life, and she told me all of the horrible things that happened to her. And probably at some point I could even tell you, because she wrote a book about her experiences. And I said to her, I really believe it'd be great if we could have selective amnesia, because if we could just not remember, because I said to her, who would you be if you didn't have those memories, if you didn't think about those things? And she said, how can I not think about them? And I said, well, you can, because in reality, they're over. Those experiences are gone. They're over. And the only thing that keeps them alive is our thinking about it. So I said to her, who would you be if you had amnesia about those? And it was difficult for her to wrap her mind around it. But the point I was making was pretty simple. The only thing that keeps those memories alive and reminds of the pain is our thinking about them. And somehow, in some twisted way, sometimes we think, and in her case, it was perpetrator, her dad and her mom. In some way, we think that keeping that alive is a way to get revenge or punishment, what you did to me. And the only person that gets punished is us, right?
Mhm.
By
So
thinking about it. I mean, it's a hard concept to incorporate or to grasp at times, I know. That is our way to freedom, is in our thoughts. Would you agree, Terry?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When we keep bringing the past into the present, we're not helping ourselves. We're just keep regurgitating that, and it keeps bringing us into that low vibration. So when we finally break through, and Jean, I know you have done so much work on that, and that's why I know that you're able to say you're the happiest that you've ever been, because that's my story too. Letting go of those things of the past, and we find that happy place. We find that peace and contentment. And I say almost every day, I wish everybody could feel this feeling, because there's nothing like it. When you're finally able to break through and let go, you really do reach that place of contentment.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, Charlie, did your life turn out the way you wanted, expected, or what you had planned? Or did you see clues in your childhood to who you became?
I'm not sure. The first part of my life, my first life and then my second life, because I have two lives, because I went up there and came back. So like,
Well, I'd love to hear about that, boy.
yeah. So the second, because I mean, the first half, it was, I did all sorts of crazy things and reckless, and I should have been dead 18 times over,
Wow.
and to die and come back is like, wow. So when they gave me my second chance, I didn't realize until my wife passed that, there was a higher self, like your soul, reaching and touching and God coming through you. And so it's like I did like spirituality, was one of my higher ones, like Gene. I was up to, I think I ate on that because, there's always room for improvement and stuff. And the emotional health, I was up there too. And, because emotionally I feel, better than I've did in my whole life. Like, gee,
Wow.
yeah, they were the two higher numbers on everything. And, and family and friends were kind of lower because, I mean, I have friends and I adore them, and it's just that I don't see them or not in touch with them in much. And it really showed me that I should be trying to, get in touch with them more and things like that. And the lowest one was like recreation and, like doing social things and stuff. And, and I realized that I got to do more things that, make me happy, and get out in recreation more. So it did do that. And then, the money one was a little low. I guess I'm a little worried about the money one, but I know that God will take care of me and the money will be there that I need to, get through life. Because, I mean, God's not going to let me starve or whatever, and I have a house and a roof over my head. When you look around the world, these people are being bombed and killed and everything else. So, you got to be happy with just what you have now. And actually, that night after we did the wheel, I was I got up during the night, and it was 1 a.m. or something. I'm looking at Facebook, and someone said, "Well, go. How many is will go post your last photo of yourself on Facebook?" And I looked back and looked at my last photo, and I put it on my wall or whatever. And it was me in Florida hugging the tree.
Oh, wow.
So it was me hugging a palm tree. So
Are you a tree hugger?
so I put that out there. That was the last picture. So I said, all right, I'm going to put it out there. And, and the person that did this, I said, she's actually has the same cancer as my wife has. So, and so it's very upsetting. And so I said,
I'm
you know what, I got to
sorry.
pull. So I pulled the card for her, and I took a picture, and I gave her a message, and
Oh,
so she thanked me and everything. So yeah. But anyway, I say prayers for every night, and so. But
yeah.
the friends thing, and I just seen that, and I'm like, oh, I got to reach out to her, and I did, and I said if she needs anything to call me and stuff like that. So
That's very, very sweet and generous. And we need one another. This is why we're here on this planet together, because we need one another. And COVID, I think one of the reasons everyone's chart would be low on, the recreation or something like that is that's kind of situational, because for the past almost, what has it been, 2.5 years now,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Drastically changed our experiences in our close relationships, and really, but I think if we look at it from a different perspective, it was a wake-up call for a lot of different reasons. But it also gave us an opportunity to examine what's really important in our life. So, but Charlie, I heard you say you picked a card. Do you read cards?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I've been doing that for like 6 months to a year or something. Yeah. It's, I have this, it just comes through me, and actually they pick it, it's like, and then the message is always what's meant to be said,
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah. But the colors, I didn't know you were supposed to do a color for each one.
Well, you could. You don't have to, but you could.
No, but then you said, in a review to look at the colors and see what they meant. So it's ironic that the colors almost match with what they said. But yeah, and it says to look at the chart on page 151,
Right.
but the chart's on 133.
Uh-oh. 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 Thank you for catching that, because right now thank you so much for that. Let me find.
Yeah.
Because right now I am in the process of, I ended my contract with my publisher, and I'm not sure if I want to self-publish right now or get a new publisher. So that's my dilemma, but that is important information for me. So thank you.
Yeah. On page 31, it says check in the Apodex on page 151 for the color symbolism chart.
Oh, wow.
And the color symbolism chart is on page 133.
Thank you. I need to write that down right now if you don't mind. Let me just do that.
Okay.
So it's 1:33,
Correct.
not whatever, 1:51.
151, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Grace, do you have anything you'd like to share or ask or anything?
No, I'm just listening, and it's I was listening to some of the questions. I don't have the book yet, but I was gathering from the conversations that some of the questions were about what you enjoyed most or your memories when you were a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as you said, it's very dependent on location and and where one is. And I was raised in Kenya, so my childhood was very different. And some of
Sure.
my most memorable moments were, we lived in the suburbs in the city, and this was just after independence. So the best moments were when we would go into the countryside to visit my grandparents. And
Oh,
we lived um, stone buildings, and ours was actually designed by an architect. But when you went to the countryside, it was the more indigenous housing,
mhm.
which was a mud hut. So
Uh-huh.
I got the best of those both worlds. And I remember we were actually it was a punishment, but it actually didn't end up being a punishment, because we were on the phone for a very long time and my mom couldn't get through. So we were kind of exiled to our grandparents. So the nights were very dark, and you actually
Oh,
you actually went to bed when the sun went down, and the nights were long. And
wow.
so that was very amazing to me, and I reflect back on those memories, and I've always carried them, especially when I came to America, that there are places in the world where you can get a lot of sleep and even be tired of sleep and wake up early in the morning. So that was a wonderful childhood of mine. And as a matter of fact, it was amazing because my grandmother could tell when somebody was walking around in the dark. She would be,
No.
who goes by there? And then I got to realize and understand and appreciate and inhale the moonlight.
Oh,
That to me was amazing. And when there was the full moon, you could go out and it would be as though there were lights all over. There was a glow, and you could actually see somebody walking by. So those were some of the moments, and perhaps that's where I found out that I was sort of led to more traveling in the spiritual, and so that has been one of my tugs, push and pull,
mhm.
where at the age of 6, again in the countryside, my grandfather came to get me out of the garden or the farm, where I was. He found me hiding behind a banana tree. Again, there was a full moon. And so I feel that has been my traveling mode. And so now when I look at that, I find that I'm traveling more in the spiritual realm and unable to make that leap in the 3D, in this reality, to learn my lessons, or to meander amongst the human, within the human experiences. So
In Kenya, the skies at night were probably beautiful.
yes, a lot of stars,
A
and
lot of stars, right?
yes, a lot of stars, and you still can find that. But as with all developing parts in the world, now there's a lot of light, but you can still see the stars. When I was there for the whole year, I did look up. And,
Do you feel a special connection to the moon? Are you like a moon goddess?
I do, because in the last couple of days, I've actually been woken up by the moon, and I sit there and I stare and I talk and I feel a lot of heat in my hands. A lot of heat in my hands when I look up at the moon. And
wow.
Yes. So for me, it's also my ancestors, and it's I don't know how to explain it, but that's where I am. But yes, I do. I do love the moon and the water. So, but that was my childhood, and the games that we used to play. I know the movie that we loved so much was Sound of Music.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure
That was
everybody.
That was one of my favorite movies too. The Hills Are Alive.
Yes, and everybody on chanting knows my signature now. It's, I must have done something good. And we used to go whenever it came to town, to the country, we would go to the drive-in. It was always at the drive-in. And so we'd put on our pajamas and we'd go to the drive-in. So those were a few of my the moments and the games. Actually, Western guns and what's it?
So what games did you play?
Well, I was in the suburbs, so sometimes we'd play, cowboys and Indians. Forgive me. But we also did play some of the more traditional ones when we went to our relatives, but mostly it was with tools. We had a tire, the rim of a tire, and you put a stick and you used it as your little, you'd sort of run with it, you'd hit it. But there are more. I haven't really dug into it, but I'm sure as we're going along and in the on the book club, I'll be able to contribute a little more. But thank you for asking.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a happy childhood.
Yes, yes, I did.
Oh, that's a blessing. I love your name, Grace. Do you feel like you're graced?
Yes, and as a matter of fact, my traditional name is Wanja, which is spelled WANJA. And a lot of my tribe, the WA means of, and then the other words are some of your characteristics or where you're headed, your path in life. So my sister's name is Wairimo, and Wa means of, Rimo means giants. So she is of the giants. My other sister's name, my other sister's name is Wangui. Wa is of, Goi is the yodelers, the singers. Mine is Wanja, which is Wa of, Ja means outside. So I am out into the world. I'm not within, or even if I'm in the community, or in the family, I'm outside. I'm the one who goes out into the world.
You're the pioneer?
I think so.
Are you the pioneer? Are you the adventurer?
It's the adventurers, but most of all, it's for the world. You're giving. You're for the world, to the world, in the world.
Wow.
And I think that's why I'm here in the West, and sort of just not really tethered anywhere like Terry. I don't own a house or anywhere, but I'm not of this world, but I'm in this world.
Oh, wow.
And not only in one part of the hemisphere or the world, but hopefully all over. Thank
Where,
you.
well, Grace, is the reason we can't see you is because you're omnipresent, you're all over. So
Thank you.
is that why we can't see you?
Thank you, Michelle. That's put it very wonderfully. It makes me happy. It's the phone. I use this phone, and everything of mine, my technology is not very, very appropriate. And so I'm trying to
That's,
just gather and get more updated.
so where do you live now, if you don't mind telling me? Or
Mhm. I'm in Charlie's backyard in New York.
really? Oh, you
Yeah.
live in New York. Oh, wow. So yeah, so I think it's always so interesting to go back to our childhood and our teen years as well. But the first 7 years are the most formative, without a doubt. And that's where we begin to gather our understanding about the world and how we perceive it by what we were taught, what we heard, conversations around the dinner table, conversations within families, friends, teachers. It all influenced us. And the good messages, the empowering ones, those are the ones we want to keep, right? We want to keep those. And there are some messages and some beliefs that were handed down to us that don't serve us. Here's a really good example. It was, and you guys might have heard this before, but so a woman was making a roast with her mother, and her mother cut off the end of the roast, and she said, "Mom, why are you cutting off the end of the roast?" And she kind of looked back a little bit, brought her head back a little bit and said, "Well, that's the way my mother did it. You know, she always did that. She always cut off the end of the roast." And she said, "Oh," so the next time they saw the mother's mother, grandma, they said, "Grandma, why did you always, cut the roast off at the end?" And she said, "I don't know. It's because that's the way my mother did it." And luckily, great grandma was still alive. So they asked great grandma, "Why did you always cut off the end of the roast?" And said, "Because it didn't fit in the pan. So I used the end for something else." So, but that's how ingrained beliefs and habits. So that's a really innocuous one that doesn't really change your life. But how about the other ones, the other habits that were handed down to us that we just do without knowing habitually, So I love to spend time on that. And I see that we're running out of time, but so Terry, please, I did so much talking here and I'm so sorry, but Terry, what do you have to add, please?
I've just been loving this conversation and everybody's responses. I am traveling, so I haven't really had time to do the exercises and delve into it. But I loved listening to everybody, and I could resonate with every one of you. It was so beautiful just hearing everything and knowing that I've watched some of the growth over the past 2 years. I have seen some of you really expand, and all of you that are on here, I've seen the expansion. And we have Kathy Hand watching from work. She just started reading the book yesterday.
Oh, Kathy.
Yeah. And she said, "It looks like Charlie's on the ball." Yeah. Yeah. Charlie and Jean, they're both right there delving into the book and the exercises. And hopefully I'm going to be able to do that as well when I get settled. I've had a lot of travel over the last few days. So
you're traveling
right now. I'm just I've gone from Central California down to LA, and then from LA I'm headed to Portland. I've still got a few hours left to get up to where I need to go. So it's just been living in my car these last few days. And
Wow.
can't wait to get out of the car for at least a day or so. And that'll happen tonight. So I won't be sleeping in my car tonight. So that's a good thing.
Oh, dear Lord. But we're going to have, God, don't tell me that. You know me. I'm such a baby when it comes to those things. But we're going to call you.
Me. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I was at the base of Mount Shasta last night as I was sleeping. And that was a miracle in itself, just to be in the energy of that mountain.
That must have been incredible.
Yeah, it really is. There's no way to even explain it. You just have to experience it. You just have to feel that energy for yourself to really know what I'm talking about. It's that powerful. Wow. But Michele, I want to thank you for being here. Okay, so Kathy wants to know, are the exercises available on the Soul Food Book Club Facebook page? Kathy, they're in the book, honey. So you're going to come across them when you get to chapter 5 in the book.
Chapter 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Terry, we're going to have to change your name to Peace. Let's see. Peace Gypsy Angel, I think, right?
I know. I have so many names. I don't know what to do with them all.
Well, it just expands your whole energy and aura, because we want to do that anyway, right? We don't want to pigeonhole ourselves, for sure.
That's right. But, yep. No limits. That's how I've decided to live my life, with no roof, no limits, just enjoying every moment as it comes. And, and like Auntie Jean was saying earlier, that she loves her life. And I say that every day. I wish people could feel this feeling inside of just getting up and being excited that there's a new day.
Yeah.
And that doesn't come easy. It doesn't come without a lot of inner work. But when you do it and you get to that point where you're excited about life, wow, what a difference it makes. Wow. Just to live life that way instead of dreading every day and dreading the moments.
A friend of mine who had 3 different cancers, and she survived them all, and she's doing fairly well right now. She's in remission, and her doctor said to her, I want you every single day to do at least one thing that you enjoy, just one thing. And that could be just picking up, reading something, or cooking something, or eating something, or buying something, or whatever it is, spending time, in nature. But every day, just do one small thing that lifts your spirit. And I thought, for a physician, because most physicians, God bless them, I have nothing against physicians and at all. And but I thought that was really wise. And Grace, I want to thank you for participating. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll be on, and I will have read my book. So I'm going to get that. Thank you, Michele, for
thank you. And thank you, Auntie Jean.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you, Charlie. And we've got all, I kind of get chills, because I do feel the energy of this group, and even our other group. And gosh, it's really high. It's really high energy and blessed. And I'm really thankful to be part of it. And thank you, Terry, for opening this all up. Really, I love you so much.
I love you, Michele. I'm so happy that you're with us with this discussion. And we have our Hope Wellington Marshall in the UK with us. And she said, beautiful show. Safe travels, Mama P. Thank you, Hope. I appreciate that, honey. And let's see, Kathy says I could be the OA, the original angel.
I love that.
And Isabel is with us. Isabel said, I resonate so much with Auntie Jean's story.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Thank you to everyone who was with us virtually for the meeting today. And we're missing some of our regulars. Aunt Mary Lou is usually with us. Christina comes in, Suzanne. So we're missing some. And if you're watching this, any of you, we love you so much. And we'd love to have you back on Zoom. Anytime that you want to jump in here, come in and look at it. Even if you don't have the book, come in and have a discussion.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to have the book. Just be part of the group, right?
That's
it's
right.
Synergy. It's a synergy. So,
Yeah.
All right. I love you all. I'm going, and I will see you all soon. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. And we always end our show with Namaste.
Namaste.
Bye.
We'll see you all next week. Bye, everybody.